You're listening to the Super Sports Flash podcast.
And hey everyone, welcome to episode 3 of the Super Sports Flash podcast. We're back at you again, week 2 with video, so that went pretty well last time. We figured, why not keep it going?
Hello, YouTube.
Say hi to the camera, yeah.
Hey there, camera. Hey there, YouTube.
So anyway, as always, we have a lot of sports to talk about. I'm so glad to be able to say that also after the whole summer of going like, oh, there's nothing on, but
God,
more
yes.
COVID talk.
Yeah, we were watching the KBO.
Yeah.
Excited.
I wasn't watching anything.
Matt was watching the paint dry on the wall. In his
I was
garage or
playing
something.
video games and watching paint dry.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I did.
I'm just
too.
saying the KBO did have the best fans when they had like the stuffed animals specifically.
Oh,
in the
yeah, I
stands.
forgot about
was pretty
that.
Awesome. But
Stuffed animals was lit.
I think we should get started with what we have prepared on our little handy-dandy docket that we like to reference so much. And that happens to be college football first. And so a little behind the scenes. This is the second time we tried to do the opening. What didn't go so great the first time, but now we're
Take
here.
number 2.
Take number 2.
Take 2.
So Jamie Newman, the presumed starting quarterback for Georgia. I mean, it could be JT Daniels, but Jamie Newman was the one people expected to be the starter.
He was the de facto guy.
Transfer out of Wake Forest, opted out of the next season. And I think that's really interesting because to me, he's not a guy that you look at and go like, oh, he's guaranteed to be a top round quarterback. I don't even know if he's a guy that you look at that's guaranteed to be drafted, maybe in like the late rounds. But
Yeah, he was projected to be a late first round pick, maybe mid tier if he had a good year.
Yeah.
So kind of like a Jordan Love guy.
Yeah, kind of like Jordan Love, but not playing a season. He obviously had a pretty solid year at Wake Forest, but we like to joke around about the ACC.
Yeah.
and
No,
Wake
so I was
Forest.
thinking about that. And
You mean the
besides
Clemson football
Clemson, right?
Exactly.
So you have one game a year where you play someone that has a good defense, and then you have other ACC teams. So he had a good season against NC State, Boston College, Duke.
He had good stats against all the really bad teams, the ACC, and then teams like the good teams, the only good team, Clemson,
Yeah,
and
the
then
good
some of the
team.
mid-tier level teams he struggled with as well.
So basically, you're telling me he's a college Dak Prescott.
I mean, hey, Dak Prescott put up pretty good numbers last year. I
Yeah.
became a Dak believer, kind of.
He
after last year.
only put up good numbers against the bad teams. He was like, wasn't he flawless
I'll
against?
have you know, sir, he had like 350 yards against the Vikings.
I'm
So
sure
unless
he
you want to
had-
square
I'm
up
sure
right
he had
now.
even more against the Redskins. I know they killed the Dolphins. They were like 4-0, 5-0 to begin the season or something like
Yeah,
that.
because they played a bunch of teams that ended up being sub 500 or were sub 500 at the time, and then as soon as they started playing teams that were above 500, they just started dropping games like flies.
Yeah, I remember my
Ridiculous.
friend they were 4-0, and my friend was going through the schedule. He's like, we could win all these games.
Yeah.
He was being serious. I was like, you just played
Dude,
a bunch
no.
of really bad teams.
Yeah,
You
then they
played
didn't even win the
garbage.
division. So, but so back to Jamie Newman.
Yes.
I
Sidetracked.
think that one indication, obviously, it's for his health, and that's the main reason.
Yeah.
But I saw a lot of people kind of snarkily saying, maybe he was told he wasn't going to win the starting quarterback job, and so he, instead of publicly, the Georgia Bulldogs being like, you lost the starting quarterback job, you're going to ride the bench, he tried to salvage what he could and be like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm just going to go prepare for the draft then, hope I get drafted.
It's just frustrating because he's very talented, but I mean, I don't see him going until maybe the mid-second round, early third round, just because he's not playing. And the SEC playing at Georgia with Kirby Smart, Todd Monken, all the weapons they have around him, incredible recruiting class. That's his best chance to show his skill set and show how talented he is. And now he doesn't get to do that.
Yeah.
So you can train all you want, but if you don't have that quality SEC, game film, I mean, nobody's gonna be like, "Oh man, this guy's really good," and in shorts and a t-shirt running around. I mean,
Hey, Josh Allen's really good in shorts. But
I do want
excuse
to
me?
interject.
Go ahead.
I don't know where that came from.
All right.
that's what they said during the draft for
Pause.
Josh Allen. They kept saying Josh Allen looks really good in shorts, and then the Bills picked him up, and so it became like a running thing.
Oh, all right. That's
all right,
just
well,
odd.
we'll go with
Now
that.
you know that
But-
Josh Allen looks good in shorts.
I don't think I wanted to know that,
Do
but
they wear
carrying
shorts
on.
in Buffalo? It's pretty cold there.
All right, Matt, what did you
Okay.
say?
sorry.
I was about to say, there's nothing wrong with going in the mid-second round because if you have no SEC film and you go in the mid-second round, you're Jalen Hurts went in the mid-second round, and he had like highlight film at UA, and then he slowed down because it's like you could argue that it was because Saban told him just don't screw up. But when he went to Oklahoma, he was a Heisman candidate.
Yeah.
And he still went mid-second
A
round.
national
If
champion.
he's exactly,
But he played though. He had that game film.
exactly, if he's playing and this guy's still getting drafted in the same spot as him, then it's like,
Well, that was me being optimistic.
Optimistic.
From a
Oh, was
skill
it? Okay.
standpoint.
Well, in that
I have
case.
I have no idea where he's slated to go now. But I truly believe that if he had played this year, he would have had a pretty solid year.
Yeah.
And he could have been,
it
top
could have been,
15,
been
top
just-
20 pick.
yeah.
Literally the only argument against him playing that I can think of from the recent couple of years is Jake Fromm, right? If Jake Fromm, like,
But he's more
freshman year-
dynamic than Jake Fromm.
But I'm just saying, Jake Fromm playing last year, especially, he was supposed to be his whole career. He was supposed to be like a top round guy,
Yeah.
and he went to the 5th, and he's going to be like a career backup now.
Actually, didn't he get cut by the team because it turned out like he was like a sleazeball?
No, I thought they kept
No,
him.
that was like alleged.
I mean, he definitely is.
He's talking about the
he
tweets
is a
where he
sli-
talked about like elite white people
Yeah.
being the ones that could own weapons.
yeah, like he specifically mentioned.
Did you not
be
see
like-
that?
Oh yeah, I remember.
it was
that.
like someone posted a text message that he had with him, and it was just like, this
Yeah.
guy's not a good person.
But anyway, that
Yeah.
he's still on the Bills from what I can tell.
Okay, he is.
But
All right.
he's going to be a career backup now.
And you know what? He's backing up a guy who looks good in shorts. That's all I
true.
gotta say.
oh my
Th-
god,
this league is a place for guys who look good in shorts.
just the Bills.
Just the Bills. Just the Bills. So what you're saying is that Jamie Newman's going to the Bills.
That's true.
That's what you're saying. That's what I'm hearing. Because the Bills are the place for the guys who look good in shorts.
we need to move off this shorts topic. We
All
are
right, go
slowly
for it.
losing people.
I mean, I'm down to talk about people looking good in shorts.
I
but-
look good
All
in
right.
shorts. Okay.
all right.
All right,
where do you
and
wanna go with
carrying
this one?
on.
Carry on, Johnson.
That was bad. Just you go. You're the one who doesn't want to talk about shorts anymore.
You start the next topic, Joe. Just take us away.
All right. So, do we want to stay with college football? Or do
I
we
would
move to NFL?
love to talk about more college football. I promise I
Sure.
won't mention shorts.
All right. Well, 9 players tested positive for COVID. Can this factor into the Big Ten's decision into playing? How do you guys feel? Are you confident? I know there's allegedly going to be a meeting tomorrow, but I personally I don't see them changing their mind because
No.
I think it looks worse if you
100%.
go back on your word after all that's gone on.
They're
So,
definitely just going to be like,
hey, we had a good conversation.
have you ever
but-
seen the commissioners of like conferences? Them and Wounded Pride do not go well together no matter what. So I don't think a major, like a Power 5 conference owner is going to willingly admit that they're wrong.
Here's the thing.
Sad as it is.
I will not confidently say anything about the Big Ten just because I believe that the Big Ten doesn't know what they're doing. I
That's
believe
fair.
that they will go back
Well,
on
Kevin Warren's only been. This is his first year as commissioner. He got booted
Yeah.
from the NFL because he was so bad. And so I feel like there's a lot of pride. He takes a lot of pride in his job. He's
Yeah.
got a lot to prove, and so making the bold decision that he made to cancel the season and then being like, oh, just kidding. We've thought it
Oh,
through,
yeah.
and we're gonna go back on that.
Yeah,
Makes
you
him
know.
look even worse.
Yeah.
Even though I think that's what they should do,
Oh,
but I don't
Yeah.
think he can take
I
that
mean,
ego hit.
The only way that you can reasonably do it is if you just say, I put it to a vote and remake like
Well, they already tried to say they voted.
Well,
and
the thing
then
is, he
there
could-
was so
it
It
much-
was like 10-3 or something
yeah.
like that.
After pulling teeth, they finally got the numbers for the voting.
was it? Okay. I thought that the thing was he just didn't let him vote.
No,
That was the
a vote.
rumor.
That was
and
the
then It
rumor?
was confirmed.
Okay.
And it was Nebraska, Ohio State, and who was the third team that voted? Iowa or something. One of those teams.
Iowa would be ironic because I don't know if you've seen what's going on in Iowa City right now, but
Ooh.
it is a hot spot. Like lots
Really?
of lots of students have come back and they're
Yikes.
like challenging Alabama.
Well, it's
right
weird
now.
because
Ooh.
Iowa
That's not
State,
where you want to be.
Iowa State, who plays in Big 12, is playing this year, but Iowa isn't going to play at all.
yeah, but I mean,
Well, rip. That's it for them.
but no,
Can't wait
so
for Ohio State to join the SEC.
I definitely think that,
Powerhouse.
I
Powerhouse.
definitely think that they should probably let the players play. And there's been a couple. There was the first college game last week. We kind of talked about it going to happen, but we haven't had a podcast since it happened.
Mhm.
But I believe as of the last time I saw an update about it, no one had tested positive. None of the players, at least.
I was about to say.
So
The players were the ones that I wasn't necessarily worried
Yeah.
about because they would be the ones being forced to take the precautions.
Well,
It's
I
the-
was worried about them because football is a physical sport.
It
There's
is.
a lot of breathing on each other. And
Yes.
That's why you have to test all the time.
Yeah. And the reason why I wasn't necessarily as worried about the players is that I know that a bubble works. And if obviously they're not in a bubble right now, but if you keep players secluded and like impose restrictions on them and like threaten them with getting kicked off the team, then they're still like they will be safe.
So here's the issue though, is you can't put the players in an actual bubble because the NCAA won't allow that because that's basically admitting that they're more than just
they'd
students.
have to start paying them. Which, we're 2 years away from that? Or is that next year?
No, we're 2 years away from them being able to
profit
receive,
off a name, image, and likeness.
Yeah.
But they are not getting paid by universities.
I think that's how it should go, honestly, because I think that, paying the university, paying a player might get a little sketchy, and then it's just who's like the richest university or who's like the biggest university. But I think
that's the way it technically already
survival
is.
of the fittest. Though.
I mean, that's
just
true.
Like however much money you can throw around. At this point.
That's definitely true. But I think that like sponsorships is a good medium because the players that were going to garner a lot of interest can get money off of their appearance, and then also you don't have to worry about like, oh, did they only go to Alabama? Did they only go to Clemson because they had the most money to throw around for their football?
But now here's the question though: if a player gets sponsored by Adidas and the school is sponsored by Nike, what shoes do they wear? Do they wear Nike shoes and be a part of the team, or do they wear Adidas shoes and get that money?
I feel like honestly that might not happen.
Question.
I feel like if you're a player, you probably wouldn't be able to sign with a rival. Like that's probably in the team rules somewhere.
Yeah, that's one of.
I mean, it would have to be added to the team rules because they're not at that point yet.
That's what I mean. Is like that's definitely something they would have to address.
Yeah, there's a lot of work there. A lot of stuff.
There's a lot of legwork. Instead of just saying, yeah, sure, players can like get paid or whatever. Now it's like they've created a lot of work just to save their own hides and still maintain rights over the players. It's all they're trying to do. They're just trying to like keep a grasp on these guys.
Yeah. So speaking of players who are paid, I think we should take. Yeah, I got it.
Oh, what a transition!
I think
he's back,
should
boys.
Go talk about the NFL for no other reason than that's next on our list.
Exactly.
But
sounds good to me.
Where do we want to start? I actually want to start, surprise, surprise, with my Minnesota Vikings.
I want to start with your Minnesota Vikings too,
Yeah.
because there's two different things we can talk about.
I'll talk about the good one, the positive one that people aren't freaking out about. So I like to bring up the Vikings every week by now. If you don't know I'm a Vikings fan, you just haven't listened to the first 2 episodes.
Exactly.
So
go back and listen to the first 2 episodes if you haven't.
Yeah, please.
And you'll understand.
Our
or
support,
not, I understand.
Your support is, very much appreciated.
Very much
anyway,
appreciated.
So now I don't have to actually shoehorn in the Vikings because we traded a second-round pick next year and a 2022 conditional 5th-round pick, which could turn into a 4th if Yannick Ngakoue, the player we traded for, right?
Can you say that again one more time?
Yannick Ngakoue.
Ngakoue.
Is that the actual pronunciation of his name?
Yes.
Oh my God, you did it.
I had to look it up. But
Keep
so
that to yourself.
we traded for Yannick Ngakoue. He is a Pro Bowl defensive end. I think he's been in the league 4 years now.
He's pretty young.
Made the Pro Bowl, I think,
Yeah.
3 of the 4. He has 37.5 sacks.
He's
And
good.
He's only 25. He's actually younger than Danielle Hunter, our other defensive end, who was like set a whole bunch of NFL records for like the youngest player
feel
to
like
reach
Danielle
X amount of
Hunter-
sacks.
If you asked me his age, I would not have guessed that he was that young. I
Yeah,
feel like he's been
I-
with the Vikings forever, and he's kind of underrated.
My thing was like, I just remember hearing the name Danielle Hunter for the first time ever last year and being like, yo, what? And they're like, yeah, he's been in the league forever. I'm like, what?
Yeah, he actually set a whole bunch of records for like the youngest player to X amount of sacks. He pretty much under like 25 so far holds them all right now.
Jeez.
But he's really good. And now we're added another Pro Bowler opposite of him. So
Ayo.
anyway, the conditional 5th is a 5th in 2022. It's a 4th if he makes the Pro Bowl, or
Which he will.
I think it was Pro Bowl or All Pro team. I don't remember exactly which. And it's a 3rd actually if we win the Super Bowl, because at that point, who cares? I would gladly
good
trade a
trade.
3rd. Exactly.
Yeah, for a Super Bowl win. At
Well, it's
that
a good
point,
trade on
just-
both
Yeah,
for both parties because obviously Jacksonville is trying to clean house on their players, which
I
We'll
swear,
cut to
Jacksonville
later.
has just started shoveling their guys out.
So, did you guys ever play Call of Duty Zombies?
of
Vague-
course.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I
yeah.
hope
Classic
Jacksonville
game.
has 150 points because they're having a fire sale.
They are
Fire
definitely
sale.
having. Wow, that's why Matt's our voice guy
Yeah.
right there.
Absolutely.
But so some other things that had to go on with that deal are starting left tackle Riley Reef, not to be confused with the other famous Riley Reef. I
I
not
was
to be
waiting. I did
confused.
not want you to say that, but you said it.
yeah,
No.
It's out there. It's in
like
the cloud.
It's like a guy looking good in shorts. You didn't want to see it.
But
You just
anyway,
didn't want to see
True.
it.
Some
unlike
things you
the
can't
other
avoid.
famous Riley, he's our starting left tackle, and he was making about $11 million through his contract this year. And we basically went to him and said, "Hey, buddy, listen, you got to do us a solid here."
give him a pat on the
Yeah,
back. Hey,
Unique Ngakoue took a $5 million pay cut from his franchise tag to come play with us because we don't have a lot of salary cap.
Yeah.
And so we told Reef, and we're like, basically, you need to take a pay cut or we're going to release you. Then
Did you
rumor has it
draft? You guys drafted an offensive tackle, didn't
left
you?
tackle Ezra Cleveland, but he's like a project. So next year he's our starting
He'll
tackle.
be
but
good.
this
It'll just take a couple of years. He's
Yeah.
definitely got some good
I
traits.
hope so. But anyways, so we went to him and he basically had an emotional goodbye with the team and resigned to getting cut. And then the next day he took a $5 million pay cut and is returning as our left tackle this next year.
Boom.
So it's a win
From
not
out of the
win.
clouds.
It's a win, not win. Like the fans won, the team won. Riley Reef didn't
I
really
like
win.
that. Do you
I
like
mean,
that?
I think he won if
do
he's
like
like that devoted to the team. Because in that case, it's like you have like certain goals you want to meet as your
Well-
player. Are you devoted to a team? Are you devoted to getting that money? Are you devoted to winning?
Chasing the bag.
Reportedly,
Exactly.
his agent asked around for a trade, actually, and no one took the contract because he was
Yikes.
making too much. So I don't want to say he's 100% devoted to the team, which is understandable. If someone asked me to make $5 million left, which is almost 50% of what I'm making less, I wouldn't want to say yes either.
Be like, can somebody else take me? No. All right, fine, I'll stay because I like it here. I'm already established here. You guys know me. I'm already like,
Yeah.
What's up?
But anyway, I love the trade so much. I was really devastated when we lost Everson Griffin because he had been the heart and soul of the Vikings defense for 10 years. We drafted him in 2010, I believe. And no offense to Everson Griffin, but right now in their career, Yannick Ngakoue is a better player where they're both at right now. He's an elite pass rusher. He's not a great run defender, but we can work on that. And we happen to have two really good linebackers to make up for that.
Yeah.
So I just
all you need in the run game is good linebackers. You need like one good guy to chase, like
Mhm.
one good edge guy to set that edge and chase him the other way, and then the middle linebackers to shoot the
Yeah,
gaps.
that
And
defense
Eric
is going to
Kendricks.
surprise a lot of people this
Oh,
year.
I mean, everyone expects the Vikings defense to be good. They're always going to be good, except for their secondary, which is just going to be go deep.
Well, yeah, they're always good, but I would go a step further to say they'll probably be elite top 5 defense in the
Ooh,
NFL.
I would hope so.
I
The
say their
only-
run
Tyler's
defense.
like,
I think their run defense is going to be like top 3, maybe.
That's interesting because our big weak spot this year is defensive tackle.
really.
Yeah, because
We
lost.
signed Michael Pierce and then he opted out of the season. He was our only player to opt out. So
You-
we have
who
like-
was the player
Never
that you
mind.
lost that had been there for a while?
oh,
defensive
Linval
back.
Joseph.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went to the Chargers. And then we
Ugh.
signed Michael Pierce to be his replacement.
Oh, that would have been so good.
And
He's such a good run
very,
stopper.
very similar to Yannick
Oh.
Ngakoue. I love Linval Joseph, but right now Michael Pierce is better.
Well, you'll have Michael Pierce next year.
Exactly. We got him for
Yeah.
3. It was a 3-year contract, so we'll have him for 2 more years at least.
I'm not a Vikings fan, and I feel bad about that one.
I do too, but I
That's-
mean, I
that's
respect
just-
him. He had asthma his whole life, really
Yep.
bad asthma, so I completely understand.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so
Take a paid vacation, man. We'll see you later.
Yeah.
so then our other big question mark is cornerback, but apparently our rookie corners have been looking really good in summer
You
camp.
better
And
hope.
It's summer camp. You know, everyone looks good in shorts, but
Oh, my gosh.
It gets worse. It
So-
keeps getting worse.
So we're talking about cornerback. Do you want to transition into the quarterback? for the Minnesota
Oh.
Vikings?
yes, I would love to actually. And so, do you want to?
I like that. You like that?
I like that. Not
I
a lot
don't-
of people liked what he said though. So.
I like
So-
that, but I don't know if I like this.
I'm paraphrasing here, but essentially Kirk Cousins was asked about, how he felt about COVID-19 and just how it's going to go with the sport of football. And he said that it's just going to run its course, essentially, is basically what he said.
Yeah,
But
but
you want to
he's-
elaborate more? if
Oh,
you
he
want.
said, and I quote, "If I die, I die," when talking about him catching it. But the
I'm about to say,
problem,
this requires a little bit of explanation because it's being taken out of
Yeah.
context.
Oh yeah, well,
and
I
if you
saw a
take
Bleacher
that,
Report tweet. We talked
Mhm.
about this. That
Yeah.
was 184,000 people have died, but yet Kirk Cousins is still not taking
COVID seriously.
seriously. And then it was just the quote, "If,
If
I die,
I
I
die."
die."
Yeah,
But then you look at other articles that are taking the full quote,
yeah.
and he's saying, "Yeah, like I'm not too worried about it, but I still wear my mask. I
Yeah.
understand why
he's
people are
literally
worried
saying
about it."
like, I am healthy. everyone in my family is healthy. Everyone that I interact with on a daily basis is not at risk.
Yeah, and he's saying if I get it,
If
I'll
I
just
get it,
figure it out as it
yeah.
go.
If I get it, I get it. If I die, I die.
So,
But he specifically said, I still wear my mask for other
yeah, he
people.
said,
But we
out of
haven't seen that
respect.
quote anywhere.
We
Like,
haven't, because no one wants to post. It's not
And here's
juicy.
the
It doesn't
thing,
get clicks.
this is a reoccurrence with just today's society. Nobody wants to accept other people's opinions. They want to.
Yeah.
If you don't have the popular opinion that everybody else has, you're just looked at as a weirdo, an outsider. You know, you're betraying everybody else.
Yes.
So I will say, credit to all the like beat reporters out there and all the basically the places I've seen taking it out of context were the big media like
But
corporations.
Does Bleacher Report really need clickbait?
I
I
mean,
mean,
that's-
if you look at the tweet, there's no article attached to
Yeah.
it, so they're not clickbaiting anything. They're just
It's
being
just the number of
jerks.
people like trying to. I think didn't Bleacher Report actually like put out an article on it, but not link it to that. I think they just want people to
I'm
go
sure
to.
they did.
I think they
hope-
just
mean,
wanted people to go to their website and look it for.
Oh yeah,
I just don't think that's right because
it's not.
It's not
you're
right.
Bleacher Report. Everybody, like I said, everybody knows who you are. You don't need to
Everyone
clickbait
knows
just
Bleacher
to
Report.
get people on your website.
Yeah. Well, and it just annoys me because if you actually watch the interview, I watched the interview today. Actually, for
I
one
didn't
of my
see
classes.
the video. I just saw the quote. And the quote was good enough for me.
So the whole like I still wear my mask out of respect for other people was literally the next sentence after the words "if I die, I die."
Yes.
He literally followed that sentence with, "But I still think you should wear a mask out of respect for everyone else that
That's
is either
ridiculous.
isn't as
I
comfortable
would be
or
so
is
mad
at
if
risk."
I was a Vikings fan. I like
I
Kirk
would've been-
Cousins
yeah,
because of his
like-
time on the Redskins,
Yeah.
but I just frustrates
I
the
mean,
heck out
let
of
me
me.
just
man.
put it this
Just
way: I woke
annoying.
up, went on Twitter, saw Kirk Cousins isn't like says something stupid about COVID, and
Threw your
I'm,
phone out the window.
I was
Get it
so
outta here.
ready to be like, "Oh my God, Kirk, why?" But then I actually read the
Yeah,
interview,
and it's
like interview, and listened to the interview, and I was just like, "Why are people mad about?"
Well,
this?
then
Yeah.
I took it a step further. I was like, oh, let me see what other news outlets are saying. And half the articles were just negative.
Yeah.
Just negative headlines. And there were
Yeah.
a couple that were like, they weren't like that, but the good majority of them were just
Yeah.
complete negativity.
Don't react to something unless you understand the situation. That's
Yeah,
it.
you need the facts. You have to, look at all different perspectives. You can't just be so quick to jump to a conclusion. And as a country, I feel like that's something that we definitely lack in. People just seeing a
Yeah.
clickbaity headline article and going, oh my gosh, and then
Oh.
not even reading the article in some cases.
yeah. So that was
Mini
interesting.
rants,
I think
mini
we
rants.
should
Mini rants.
talk a little bit about the football side of football.
Yes.
and
Let's get back to that.
the first thing I wanted to bring up is so I saw that reportedly the Saints are on the verge of it's either the Saints or the Titans are both on the verge of signing Jadeveon Clowney as of like 20 minutes ago.
Or so
it
the
just,
Seahawks.
it
I
just
thought.
broke out. I just saw Saints and
Really?
And the
Titans.
Vikings.
No, I wish. No, I don't actually. But I thought that was kind of interesting because the number I saw got thrown around. This is complete speculation still. It was like a $1 million or 1 year, $10 million contract. But
Yeah.
something interesting I saw today, the New Orleans Saints next year are projected to be $78 million over the cap. The cap is projected to be $175 million.
Yeah.
And what's worse, the Eagles are projected to be $90 million over the $175 million cap next year. So
Yeah.
both of those teams are going to look completely different.
Sorry.
Hi, you can see us
Sorry
again
about
now
that.
if you're watching
Some
the
of
YouTube version.
Some of the lights got taken out. We're used to recording a little bit earlier, so now we have turned up the brightness and turned on a light so as to
The light is shining on us.
exactly.
And now I look
Behold-
And now I look significantly worse.
Yeah, because now you can see our faces.
Yeah, that's. we got faces for
Yeah.
radio and for podcasts, not for
So-
YouTube
Exactly.
video. But here we are.
Actually, speaking though, it kind of goes hand in hand with the Saints being $78 million over contract next year. Alvin Kamara of the Saints sat out a couple of practices. And at first, it was everyone was like, "Oh, it's cap related." And I know you're
No
paying
cap, no
Matt.
cap.
I also have him in a fantasy league, so
So, all right, my fantasy league is dismal, and this will come up like a couple different times.
mhm.
My keeper, I'm going to keep your league. My keepers were Russell Wilson, good keep. Julio Jones, good keep. And Alvin Kamara. Thought it was a great keep. Maybe I'm wrong, but who
so
knows?
He's back at practice today.
Exact-
He was running through drills and stuff.
But the thing is, the report came out, he wasn't at practice not due to the fact that he was holding out for a contract. They just said he disappeared.
yeah,
He even said, it wasn't for a contract. What does it mean? Where were you? What were you doing?
I think that's code for it's definitely because of a contract, but I still want
He
to
just
play.
wanted to put the pressure on
Yeah.
the Saints.
Yeah, he wanted to
Kind
be
of
like,
like Dalvin
It's
Cook, like
cat and
holding
mouse
out,
game, yeah.
and then as soon as this like practice started, he's like, "No, I was never going to hold out."
Well, you think
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara makes you nervous? How do you think I felt when Leonard Fournette was traded from the Jags?
Hey,
Or not,
guess
even- not
what?
traded,
He got cut.
released.
Guess what?
Straight up cut.
Leonard Fournette is also on the same team. I also picked Leonard Fournette in that draft.
So how
Oh,
do you
Fournette.
feel about Fournette on the Bucs? Because right now I know the Buccaneers came out and said Ronald Jones is our starting running back, which I'm fine with because I have Mark Ingram on my bench, and so
Yeah.
I'm fine playing with Mark Ingram for a
Ron-
week.
Ronald
But
Jones will not be the starter by
Ronald,
the end of the year.
At the end of the year, Ronald Jones will not be the starter. But here's the worst thing about it. I cut Ronald Jones to keep Leonard Fournette. Dude, I couldn't be making the wrong moves more. Like, what's going? I can't be like in any worse situation. And then also,
Matt,
my
just-
second guy is Melvin Gordon.
Whatever you're gonna do, just like literally do the opposite. You should be fine.
Exactly. Next time, cut Leonard Fournette. Whatever. I don't know. I'm
But
just
I think-
sick of it, man. I'm out of this.
I actually
I quit.
was talking about this last night, and I think that running back was the one like hole on the Bucks offense, you know, because they had like 80-year-old LaShawn McCoy, and
I don't know why everyone
Tom
was-
Brady and 80-year-old Rob Gronkowski.
Everyone, dude, Rob Gronkowski's
but
not going to
their
be
other
good.
tight ends. They also have Cameron Brate and OJ Howard.
Cameron Brate was like, he's good for Jameis because Jameis only throws to one tight end a week, and most times it was Cameron Brate.
Yeah.
But OJ Howard is clearly far and away the better
Yeah, he
receiving
is.
tight end. And
So-
when you've got
so-
Gronk out there to block, you're fine.
Yeah, but so anyway, my point is now that they have Leonard Fournette, I was never too high on Leonard Fournette, but you did just add a 1,000-yard rusher to a team
Yeah.
that running back was like their last offensive question. So I mean, I guess now their biggest question is Tom Brady, can he still throw a football?
Yeah, can Tom Brady throw a
My-
football more than 5 yards?
Yeah.
My prediction, not talking about Tom Brady, with the running game is Ronald Jones starts the first game,
Mm-hmm.
and
Sad.
he has a terrible first half, maybe
Please.
50 yards, a fumble. He just a terrible first half, and then Fournette goes in the game and just runs it up.
Yeah, because part of the problem with Fournette was that no one was afraid of like practice squad corners lining up at receiver for the Jags. They knew
yeah.
it's going to be a run. And there's also no blocking on that Jaguars team. And like, I love Gardner Minshew. I'm not afraid of him if I'm a defense.
Well,
I'm not afraid of Gardner.
I was looking at Pro Football Focus's, top offensive lines going into this year, and the Jaguars' offensive line is 26, and the Buccaneers is 13.
so he gets an upgrade.
An upgrade,
at everything. Because now he's not even the primary focus. The defense's primary focus is going to be stop Tom Brady, stop
Yeah.
Mike Evans,
yeah,
stop
they
Chris
drafted
Godwin.
Tristan Wirfs too on the offensive line at Iowa.
He was my favorite
Offensive lineman. Yeah,
tackle
me
in the
too.
draft. Yeah.
So
That
they've
team
got
is so good.
I think he had the best combo of, like being an amazingly gifted athlete and also having all like the technical skills. I think
Yeah.
Andrew Thomas probably had the best
Yeah.
like technical skills, but Tristan Wirfs is just a better athlete.
Hey,
From what-
don't be hating on Jedrick Wills, man.
I don't know about yards, but I think Fournette's gonna have a lot of goal line
His
touchdowns.
touchdowns are going to be through the roof. I tried to trade for him in my other league, and it was shot down because the guy became aware that he signed with the Buccaneers.
Yeah,
I was
you.
sad.
I remember you were talking in the group chat about that. You're like, I'm trying to
I'm trying
convince
to
one of my
yeah,
friends, and
Yeah,
I
and
think-
he wisened up on me.
The biggest fear for Leonard Fournette this year has to be like a Kareem Hunt situation where both the running backs do really well, so they split time instead of like him getting a share of
Yeah.
the carries. And I think for Leonard Fournette this year, you want more than anything because he signed a 1-year contract to go out and show that
And
you're
just
worth something.
Leonard Fournette
well, him
has the
signing a
pressure on
1-year
him.
contract just proves that they're gonna use him because they
Yeah.
want to know.
Can you do it?
Yeah, they
And-
want to know if we should re-sign him or cut him.
Unfortunately, with running backs in the league too, if you know they're gonna be gone next year, there's no incentive not to just run them into the ground. That's
yeah.
what they did
Yeah,
with Le'Veon
exactly.
Bell and the Steelers.
What
Yeah.
they're not going to play him? They sign him to a 1-year contract. They're just
Yeah.
going to let him sit for half the
Nah.
season? No way.
You don't pick
And
up Leonard Fournette to let him sit.
I don't even think they can keep all the running backs they have right now. They've got Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, Peyton Barber, and then I think they drafted Keyshawn Vaughn
Yeah.
out
And
of
they have-
Vanderbilt.
So
And they're
what's-
not going to cut the rookie because they just got him. And
They actually did
And
cut a
look-
rookie today.
And let's not forget they still have LaShawn McCoy as well.
but between McCoy,
Here's
they're
what
not going to cut Jones, obviously.
they're not going to cut
So
Jones.
they're either going to
What-
cut McCoy or Barber, or
They're going to.
you think they're going to keep both of them?
I think they're going to cut Barber. My prediction
Yeah.
is It's going to be.
Well, McCoy's a veteran, and then all
Exactly.
the other guys are young, and then you
And
have Fournette.
here's
who's
the thing:
Fournette.
Ronald Jones isn't spectacular at catching passes. LaShawn McCoy is like a god tier running back when it comes to receiving out of the
Yeah,
backfield.
third down running back right there.
Exactly. He is the perfect third down running back. Even like he's like no longer what he used to be, but he doesn't need to be anymore.
Well, they've given Ronald Jones a chance too. He's had plenty of opportunities. He just
Exactly.
can't be consistent. So it's not like, oh man, we're giving up on this guy. He's so young. Yeah, he's young, but you've given him opportunities and he hasn't.
He hasn't
taken them.
produced on
Yeah.
a constant plane, which is his main issue. I mean, granted, he also was having to split time with somebody else last year. I don't remember who the other guy was that he was having to split time with.
Peyton Barber probably.
I mean, I thought that they just had like a two running back system. Where they
it was something the third.
Yeah, it was some. I can't remember the guy's
Ronald
name.
Jones the third.
No,
Are you sure?
but it was literally just. It was either Ronald Jones or the other guy. Whoever was like going better after the first 5 carries got the rest of the carries.
I'll tell you what.
That's what it was.
I want to go back to simpler times where Doug Martin was the running back.
I want to go back to
The
simpler
muscle
times.
hamster.
I want to go. I want to go
Best
back
nickname.
to simpler times when you just had one running back. You didn't have a guy for first down, a guy for second down, a guy for third down. I'm tired
Well,
of these
unfortunately,
roundhouse clown car running back rooms.
it's effective though.
It's so effective.
We saw
It's
the
stupid.
Super Bowl with the Chiefs and the 49ers.
It's the two
49ers
teams that
had
do it.
Mostert,
Raheem Mostert, Matt Breida, Jerick McKinnon,
Tevin Coleman,
Tevin Coleman, and then the Chiefs had
Damian
Williams, LaShawn McCoy, and like 2 or 3 other guys that they would occasionally just slot in for a play
Yeah.
and tell them to go and slot them back out.
Well, I've looked at this before, and if you look at the teams that have, your Saquons, just feature one running back for the most part,
Yeah.
they usually have the worst records in the league every year.
Was it Charles Sims, the one you were thinking about? Because that was the one who I was thinking about. It was Ronald Jones the second.
Yeah.
That's where the numbers came in. But
So
I think
Ronald
Charles
Jones-
Sims was the one that he split carries with
Last year?
Yeah, I believe
Okay.
so.
Well,
Anyway,
I don't know
sorry,
much.
no.
It must have been him because it was some dude that I can't even put a name on right now.
Some nobody.
Yeah, some
He is a
some
free agent
dude,
right now.
some dude.
So, I think, Cam Newton. Anyone?
I like
That
it.
was the worst attempt at
So, Cam Newton?
Cam Newton. Anyone? I think
I like Cam Newton.
people
I
were
wish-
questioning.
I like Fig Newtons. I'm not a big
People
Cam Newton
were
guy.
questioning whether or not he would be the starter even this year, which one I think is ridiculous. It's Cam Newton, and they
It-
don't have
it
their
was-
next best
Jared-
quarterback.
It was
Bam
just
is
it was
not-
just Bill Belichick being like, "Oh, he's gonna have to work for it," and
Yeah.
Cam Newton just needs someone to tell him that he's in an illusion that he has to work for something. He's gonna be like, "All right," because he's pissed. He's
Yeah.
Is he a
furious.
pirate?
So, arrgh.
I mean,
Arrgh, I'll go work
alright.
for
It's
it.
just I'm just like trying to make him sound like a gritty guy here because like the
An old
dude
man.
has finally added some sandpaper back into his diet because
Yeah.
like the dude got soft, and I'm talking Charmin soft after the Broncos abused him in that Super Bowl. He couldn't do anything. He went
I'd
from
be
MVP
Sherman soft too if I had Von Miller breathing down my neck every play.
and
That's
DeMarcus
true.
Ware and TJ Ward and like all
Um,
these other guys. Like golly,
I think that, it's interesting though. He got named an offensive captain after only being on the team for 2 months, which just shows, he's a leadership
yeah.
guy. I
Well-
saw a lot of people when he got signed there, not going to call them any names or anything, but a lot of people were like, "Oh, Cam Newton and his, troublesome ways might not make him a good captain." And I
if
was like,
there's anyone who can handle a player with troublesome ways, it's Bill Belichick.
he doesn't
But
have
as soon
troublesome
as-
ways.
as soon
why
as
he
he
said
became,
that.
as soon as Cam
Yeah.
Newton became a free agent, everybody knew he was going to play for the
Yeah.
Patriots.
Yeah.
It
And
was
it's
so obvious.
it's such a good fit because the Patriots like, all right, we just lost our guy. We need you to get us
Let's
one
bring in
more
a
year.
former MVP
Like exactly.
Well, I mean, I said it last week how I feel about
and
him.
future MVP according
Yeah.
to Joe.
Yeah,
That's my
well,
hot take. I'll try to find another hot take for this week.
I mean, the thing with Cam Newton, it's like, all right, we lost Tom Brady, the GOAT. Let's just bring in a guy, tell him, hey, go out there and ball out for a year. You don't even have to win a bunch of games. If you just go out there and throw for 1,000 yards a game and like run for like a bunch of yards and throw a bunch of touchdowns and don't throw a bunch of picks, you're fine. You will get a contract next year because people don't believe in you anymore.
Yeah.
So he's
Actually-
at that point.
I just want to put this out here right
1,000
now.
yards a game.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
lot.
yeah.
I
It's
thought
an
about that. I think about that for a
over-exaggeration to make a
That's,
point.
that's Joe-esque numbers apparently for Cam Newton.
That's what he has
But
to do to get to
I just want to
MVP.
put this out here right now. HaHa Clinton Dix, former University of
Are you
Alabama
joking?
player.
No,
I'm not.
he's not.
Although it definitely sounds like a joke name,
Aha.
like Aaron Rodgers. But he became a free
Cringe.
agent today. He
Cringe.
got cut by the Dallas Cowboys, and he was only making like $1.75 million per year. he will be a Minnesota Viking. I'm
Yeah,
putting
sorry,
that out there
tweet
Wait,
right
about
now.
Haha got cut?
By the Cowboys.
Why? He's so good.
Apparently they like their promising young safeties. And the reason I say he'll be a Minnesota Viking, just baseless speculation right now, but just watch, is because I asked Joe this earlier, Matt, who is our third string safety behind Anthony Harris and Harrison Smith
You're not gonna get it.
And
Harrison Ford too.
and Harrison Ford.
that's the third string. That's him. It's Harrison Ford. It's old man Harrison Ford with,
No, it's Josh Metellus, a 6th round rookie out of Michigan. Right now.
You said words that should not have been said.
Yeah, so exactly. So
Yeah.
we need, another safety. We had this undrafted free agent transition to safety to try to, fill up the depth. He actually, fun fact, he switched from wide receiver to safety, and then today, 3 days later, he switched back to wide receiver. So,
Ooh, yikes.
the-
He doesn't know what
We
he's
love
doing.
that versatility.
yeah, I know. He's a question. He's next Taysom Hill.
He's the
but-
next Taysom Hill, but doesn't play quarterback ever.
Or he's going to get cut, in like 2 days as well. But so I think HaHa Clinton Dix would be a perfect signing by the boys in purple.
I mean, I love Haha, and I like
Purple people eaters.
Not quite. We need to come up with
the
that's
team
been
formerly known as the Purple People Eaters.
taken. I do
Great,
like
one of the
team
greatest
formerly known.
names ever, mind you. That defense is one of the best names I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. So I think it's time to change sports because we've been talking about
Yes, we have.
NFL and
Just
football in general.
for a
Wow,
long
jinx.
Football.
time.
Football.
I mean,
Football's coming back though. We got next week. The next Thursday is the first
yeah,
game.
week from
1
today.
week from today.
The Texans and the
recording.
Chiefs,
Yep. It's Texans versus Chiefs.
and then we're starting.
Chiefs
Thursday.
are going to blow them out.
Yeah, unless
I hope
mean,
not. I've got Deshaun Watson in fantasy.
I mean,
I
too
don't know who he's
bad
gonna throw it
Deshaun
to, but-
Watson has,
I
what
mean,
is it, Will Fuller and
here's the deal. He's got
who else?
Will Fuller, Brandon Cooks.
Oh yeah,
I guess
they
I
do
forgot
Brandon
about
Cooks.
Brandon
They've
Cooks.
got
Comeback
just-
season, Brandon Cooks.
They've got two big
Maybe.
play guys, and they've got Duke Johnson. Or sorry, David Johnson.
David Johnson. Hey,
Yeah,
he's
I
gonna
think they
be-
have Duke Johnson too.
They
do.
also have Duke Johnson.
I
He's
said
their
I
backup.
said the wrong D
That's a lot
Johnson
of
that
Johnsons.
plays. Yeah, that's a lot.
That is a lot of
Yes.
Johnsons.
And they also have Darren Fells. I
all the
remember he was
Johnsons look
good.
really good in shorts too.
Stop it.
NBA
I hate
Stop
you,
it
Johnsons.
now.
I hate you.
Stop.
We're
NBA
taking this podcast
season.
and it's going a complete different direction than we thought it would.
All
NBA
because of
season.
you.
The Nuggets versus Jazz game 7 happened. Was it 2 days ago now?
Yes, because they're playing tonight. The
Yeah,
Jazz
they
are.
are.
Yeah, so the Nuggets are playing
Which
tonight.
also, funnily, I just want to
Jazz
point
are
that out.
definitely
If you
not
saw
playing tonight.
Jamal Murray's interview after the game,
He's like,
when-
we got 2 days. We don't
yeah,
have 2 days.
he found out
What?
he did not know that they were playing in 2 days. He was just
Yeah.
like, "What?"
We don't get 2 days off. What?
But-
No.
It was a really hard fought series, and the two, like in Game 7, the two superstars that were playing really well. And I say superstars. I mean, maybe you could argue that Jamal Murray's not a superstar yet, but it sure looks like he's going to become one.
Future
He's a
superstar.
superstar
I mean, well,
already.
okay.
Already.
Jamal Murray, the only reason why he averaged 30 points a game in that series is because in the 3.5 games where he didn't play spectacularly and out of his mind, he didn't do hardly anything. Because, he averaged, what was it, 35 on the series? He averaged, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's don't get me wrong, that's spectacular.
That's incredible.
But in those games, he also scored 50, 50, and 40 something.
Yeah. Well,
So the average kind of brings it down because outside of that, he scored sub 20 in some.
that's
of
what I
those
was going
games
to
as
say,
well.
though, is the last game he scored 17, but
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell also scored 22. And you could just tell both teams were absolutely
They were gassed.
exhausted.
They were gassed.
The combined score was 170 points when
Yeah.
some of the previous games are going for 250, 260
and
plus.
they just they gave everything they had.
It was a
and
great defensive game, though. If
I'm-
you like defensive basketball.
Yeah, and I'm convinced the Nuggets are just going to get smashed because they just had to wear themselves
Yeah.
out on the Jazz, and now the Clippers are going to be like, I'm kind of rested.
So I will say
I don't think so. I think they've got the hot hand. I think that'll help them against the Clippers. I think the Clippers will be very complacent, and I think that the Nuggets will catch them off guard.
I mean, you say that until Marcus Morris just comes and punches some dude in the back of the head.
Yeah.
It just punches Jokic or
And then
punches
just
Jamal
gets a
Murray.
little slap on the wrist.
Yeah, it gets
even
like
though
a
it's
s-
continuous.
$35,000 is not a small amount, but that's a small fine for them.
Yeah.
For those guys, that doesn't scratch the bank. That's
a
just
small fine of
for literally
$35,000.
beating a dude in the back of the head and stepping on his
I would
ankle to
jump
try
out-
and injure him.
I would. Oh, never mind. I was gonna say I'd do something crazy for that much money, but
Yeah, no. Anyway, the one good thing if you're a Jazz fan to come with that is Donovan Mitchell is going to get offered in
The
October.
Spider.
Yeah, the Spider.
Spider.
he's going to get offered a max contract extension, which I believe is 5 years, 150 million, or in that range. I don't know how many years it is.
It's a max contract. It's
Whatever.
5 years.
It's a lot of money.
However much money.
Yeah, I think it was
It's a
around
lot.
150
Yeah, somewhere near there.
I bet you
million.
gets more than that.
You can't
You-
there's
it's
certain
basically-
rules.
No. So he's coming off his rookie contract,
Yeah.
which means that he has to sign within a restricted amount.
That's right.
And then after that, he can get a super
Max,
I'm
which
pretty
is still also
Yeah.
a restricted amount.
And then you can get another, like, you just keep building the amount of money you
So,
can get.
Unlike the NFL, where you could theoretically give someone your entire salary cap.
Yeah.
There is a limited amount. But Donovan Mitchell, he's only 23. He definitely earned it.
He's a stud right now.
Yeah.
But
And-
he may be a stud. I think the Jazz are already at their ceiling.
I disagree.
I think this is
They
like
need to add somebody
not
else.
necessarily. I think the best that you will see out of the Jazz is like a quick exit, like a short 6-game series in the third round. I
They-
think that's the best you get out
They
of the
were
Jazz.
missing their second best scorer the entire series and lost to a team that was the 3 seed,
Yep.
by 2 points in
Who's
game
the second
7.
best scorer?
Bogdanovich.
Bogdan
point.
Bogdanovich. It's
Man.
What God?
Yeah.
he's really
he
good.
Played on the Wizards.
He's like a
I remember him.
20
But
point per game player, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere around that.
yeah, somewhere around there. He just sprays threes all the time. He's very clutch. But the thing is, I don't think that we're gonna see them get much better than they already are. I don't, because they weren't a title contender this year. I don't think they ever will be with just Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert.
They need
With
another
Rudy
player.
Gobert being number 2, because
Yeah.
Bogdan's definitely the second best scorer, but Rudy Gobert is the second guy on that
It-
team.
Kind of reminds me of this iteration of the Trailblazers in
Yeah.
which Damian Lillard has, vehemently been up and down like, I am going to be a Trailblazer for the rest of my career.
Yeah.
Whether that happens, I mean, he just
I
signed a
want
big
to see him
extension.
Yeah.
leave just because he's been there for so long.
I mean, here's the thing.
But, like-
He's not. It's not in his DNA. His
Yeah.
DNA is built to stay, and if he doesn't win anything, he doesn't win anything.
Well, the problem with them too is they have a lot of money wrapped up in him, obviously, and then they have a lot
Yeah.
of money in CJ McCollum,
And Yusuf
which is-
Nurkic.
fine, and Yusuf Nurkic, but neither of those guys are like the Scottie Pippen to your Michael Jordan. To use
Yeah.
the comparison I've seen thrown a
Ooh,
lot
yeah.
today.
We'll talk
I know
about that
he
one
says
later.
that he wants to be there for his whole career, but I'm just telling you, there's no way he's.
Here's the deal.
Eventually, he
They're
wants
gonna-
to win something.
What's going to happen is you keep Yusuf Nurkic, you get rid of CJ, you find a small forward, because for the love of God, don't say Melo. Melo's not the kind of small forward he needs. He needs a dominant small forward, and Melo is far past that point in his career. You don't need CJ. CJ is discount Dame. He's trash at defense, and
you
he's
take away CJ, they get worse. We're
you-
trying to make them better.
That's
I'm
true.
saying
You take away and then add someone
you take
else.
away CJ, and then you
Who are
add,
you gonna add?
with a
Ghostbusters.
small forward. Any small forward, for the love of God, please give Dame some help.
Yeah, they get someone like
You have to get a big name guy too.
Oh, you're
Like,
talking big name. You
you-
said anyone.
here's
I
the
was
thing.
just trying to think of like the most
Big
mid-tier
name.
small
Who's
forward.
the
You
free
need-
agent coming up?
Giannis.
There's no way he goes
He's not.
to the Trailblazers.
He's not going to the Trailblazers, but like that is a big name guy coming up. You need a big small forward or like a shooting guard that can also
So,
play defense.
That's the problem, though. Is just like for Portland, Portland's not a very particularly attractive place to go right now.
and they
'Cause
can't
if you're
play
a big-
defense.
If
none
you're a
of that.
big name small forward, what does Portland offer above any other team? You could say
Nothing.
Damian Lillard, but all Damian Lillard's going to do is score 50 points a night, which is great
And
for
you'll-
him.
You'll
or
lose
not
the
go
first
cold.
round of playoffs too.
or he'll go cold, because that is something that Dame suffers from. Is that he suffers, like he has these great outbursts of massive offensive production where he's the greatest offensive player the league has ever seen for a small stretch, but then once he starts to get tired, he just starts missing shot.
You saw it against
Shot.
the Lakers.
Exactly.
He started off the first couple of games really
On-
well, and then
it
by
was
the end
like-
of the series, he wasn't.
He wasn't
missing
doing
everything.
It. Yeah, he couldn't. Like obviously, the Lakers were trying their hardest to keep him off rhythm, and
But
it worked. But
Again, it's one of those like, the chicken or the egg type arguments. I don't know if that's the best term for it,
yeah,
but is it because he's the focal point? Is it because he doesn't really have anyone else besides like a CJ McCollum? But CJ McCollum, I think, is
yeah.
prone to getting cold even more than Damian Lillard is.
Exactly.
And if they're both cold one night, you just
Well,
get
And here's the
screwed.
thing: if they're cold, they give you nothing else.
Like-
because they can't play defense.
I don't know if
neither
you guys
of them can.
watched like the Lakers series, particularly after Damian Lillard dropped the whole bunch of like 50-point games against the Grizzlies and so on.
Yeah.
And basically, they were just double teaming him every time he touched the ball and being like, "Hey, someone else has to beat us."
Someone else win.
and no one else could.
Yeah, exactly. It's like who are you going to put out there that can beat them? Like Carmelo Anthony looked good in the series. He looked good. He looked like he
good for Melo.
He looked
For
good
this current iteration
yeah,
of Melo.
where it's like he has accepted himself as a smaller role. He wants to stay with the Trailblazers for a while because he's like, I'm not going to get anything better than this. I get to
AP,
play offense.
They want me to come off the bench.
Nah. But, like, that's the problem, though, is that Melo also contributes to the problem. It's pure offense and no defense. The only player on that team that can play defense right now, there's two guys. Trevor Ariza, who had to miss so he could keep custody of his son.
Yeah.
And Yusuf Nurkic. Yusuf Nurkic is the only other guy.
I also feel
on the
bad
team.
for Nurkic because he battled back from that injury and played incredible.
He battled back from his injury, played incredible, lost his grandmother, and played hours later.
That night, didn't he have like a triple-double in the first half?
He had,
or almost the first quarter or something like that?
He had like 21 points and like 17 rebounds in the first half.
Yeah.
And it was just ridiculous because he laid it all out on the court. And Yusuf Nurkic like gives you massive, like if you forget, Nurkic and Jokic were on the same team and people were debating who they should keep.
Yeah.
Don't forget
that's
that.
That's a good problem to have.
That's a great problem
and
to have.
The only unfortunate thing for the Nuggets back when they were both on the Nuggets together is like,
who you give up? Like someone else.
Not
is
even
get
that.
This guy.
It's just that Nurkic and Jokic can't play together.
Yeah.
Whereas like now the Nuggets also have a whole bunch of good big men, but they complement each other better than.
Yeah, it's just it's so interesting because Nurkic is. I love Yusuf Nurkic. Like I like Nikola Jokic. He's far and away better player. But Yusuf Nurkic, everyone said he was just a bull. He's not just a bull.
So actually, you were talking about teams that were all offense and no defense. So
Yes.
that kind of made me think of the Houston Rockets and Oklahoma City Thunder Game 7.
I'll say this: don't hate on that Rockets defense now.
I know they're legitimate.
James
and
Harden's an elite defender.
I don't know about that, but James
yeah.
Harden did have a clutch block at the with 2 seconds left to win the game. And then he also, I don't know if you saw the clip, but he did a little hop and dodge the ball too when it was going out of bounds.
Okay.
It was just
I just want to say
defensive play all around.
That is the lowest IQ play I've ever seen by any player that Lugens Dort made. I don't want to hear another word about Lugens Dort being good until
What was so bad
Dort
about
is a
it?
beast.
No, he's not. He did not hold Harden to doing any. Harden was getting whatever he wanted all series until that last game where he went cold. Harden was averaging like 40 a game, and they're like, "Oh, Lugens Dort is so good." No, he's not. Harden's doing whatever he wants to do.
Why do you think that's such a bad play? Like, what was wrong about what he did? He just shot a 3-pointer from what I saw.
That's the thing. Lugens Dort, not a good 3-point shooter.
Okay.
He was
points did he
open.
have in that game total?
No, he wasn't. He has passed up shots that were far more open than that.
That's fair. But did
And
those
you're not-
shots have 5 seconds on the clock?
No, they didn't. But also, you're not open if you get blocked.
I would disagree sometimes. It was just a great play by James Harden. I'd say, 7 out of 10 times he doesn't block that and he just contests it.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like, at that point, you pump fake and there's no one there. Also, to be fair, Lugens Dort screwed that up completely. The rest of the Thunder also completely screwed up.
They should have called a timeout when he got the ball back.
Well, they couldn't have because he'd stepped out of bounds when he went up to get it back.
Really?
He stepped out of bounds, then jumped up, and then touched the ball. The thing that I'm talking about is when they had 4 timeouts and they got a foul called on Harden. Before the foul got called on Harden, Steven Adams was standing at the block closest to the guy inbounding,
Yeah,
and there
I
was
saw that
no one
video.
between him and the rim. All you have to do if you're Shea I think it's Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, you turn and you loft it. Because I don't care how good PJ Tucker is. You loft it up to the top, Adams gets it, flicks it in. That
Slam
takes
dunks it.
No, it's 1.6 seconds. Don't even take if you think you have enough time, cram it. I don't care. But just flick it over the top of the rim. Finish the game. Get
That
him
wasn't
over,
even
get
the
him out here.
weirdest end of the game. I mean, we could talk about the Bucks game.
But the Bucks game where
this game.
where there was a foul called with 0 seconds left on the clock and Jimmy Butler hit 2 clutch free throws to go up 2-0 in the series.
He only needed to hit 1 and the score was tied.
Right.
So it was like
but it was 2 to win.
It was little to no pressure.
I have a question. Do you guys think Giannis is as good as people say he is?
Yes.
I think this whole
His
narrative
playoff
of-
performance.
This whole narrative is BS.
Okay. So the way that I think about it is
hold on. I'm a huge
for it.
Giannis guy, but I'm starting to think that he just can't get it done on his own.
I think that
Well, that is no one can get it done. No one can get it done on their own.
It's a league of duos or trios.
But in the
Yes.
playoffs, he's struggled pretty mightily the last couple of years.
Yes, I'll give you that. Do you mind if I just take real
go
quick?
for it.
So the thing with Giannis is that, yes, he cannot get it done on his own because teams build a wall. They bring 3 guys down to defend him. If his teammates aren't hitting their shots like they're supposed, they built an entire team around Giannis designed to hit threes, and they aren't hitting. Eric Bledsoe, not a good 3-point shooter. He's just there for the defense and supplementary stuff. They leave him. Chris Middleton.
Maybe the most streaky all-star I've ever seen.
George Hill was shooting like 55% from 3 earlier in the year. Not shooting that now. Pat Connaughton, terrible. Dante DiVincenzo, terrible. Marvin Williams, not what he used to be. Used to be a decent 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
Can't shoot him anymore. Brook Lopez playing what he needs to do, but he can only shoot standing threes.
I think Giannis needs to add some more moves to his arsenal.
He does.
Right
Giannis
now,
needs to improve.
Like you said, it just seems like he drives the lane and either dishes it or
He's been in foul trouble both of the first 2 games too because of offensive fouls. I
Yeah.
remember at one point he had 4 fouls and like 3 of them were offensive.
He's kind of a one-trick pony, and I only really noticed it in the playoffs the last couple of years. But it's glaring to me.
So
It's very
then I have a
noticeable.
question for you. Do you think Anthony Davis is overrated? Because he's had less playoff success and is 2 years older.
That is
Giannis.
true.
And he has 2 less MVPs, soon to be 2 less MVPs.
Yes.
Maybe a little bit,
But not nearly as much as you think Giannis is, right?
It's all about
'Cause
perspective because
Before
Giannis
the
is under.
Lakers, Anthony
Yeah.
Davis was by himself and had 1 playoff win?
Yeah, he had one playoff series
Or-
win.
Yeah, 1
And
series
it
they
was
swept the Blazers.
it was against the Blazers, and everyone attributes that to Rondo and Drew Holiday.
Yeah. And so, but my main point, I guess, about the whole like Giannis narrative is that at the end of the day, no one's gonna remember teams that like people are like, oh, if they lose this series, is it bad on his legacy? Maybe like a little bit, but for some reason, the way that basketball fans look at things is if you lose in the championship, that's worse than losing in the first or second round.
Yeah.
And so I think that this might, right now, people might be like, oh, can Giannis win? As soon as he, if he ever gets to a championship and then he loses there, I think that's going to have a longer lasting
That's going to have a much longer lasting impact because then like people are just going to be coming out of like the wings on this guy, just trying to be like, hey, this guy, he's not it. I have friends of mine. I have a friend who doesn't like Giannis just simply because of the fact that he thinks Giannis is overrated. He loves James Harden because he thinks people harp on James Harden too much. And he was like, I've been telling y'all, Giannis is unskilled. He's soft. He doesn't have it. It's like, well, this dude literally got mad that the Raptors ran a zone against him and went and got jacked. And now his team's not helping him.
I also do want to say, like, my last thought on this whole issue is that every really good NBA player goes through a stage like this where
Mike did it.
everyone
did it.
wants them to be bad because they're so good.
Exactly.
And so because he's struggling this one series, people are going to be like, he did good against the Magic. And granted, it's the Magic, but he did pretty good against the Magic.
Like he didn't do great the first game, and then the second game he was like, all right, 36-18.
Yeah,
I'm just dunking everything. I don't care. You're not stopping me.
And so every truly great player has, even recently, LeBron, Steph Curry had his when people got tired of the Steph Curry mania.
Yeah.
James Harden, Russell Westbrook. As soon as Russell Westbrook stopped shooting well and like putting up triple doubles, everyone's like, "Oh, he's not good. He's overrated."
Yeah, and it's just like it went from the point of, oh, he's getting triple doubles because he wants it to, oh, he's getting triple doubles because he's
He's a
stat
stat
sheet
pattern,
stuffing
yeah.
and he
Yeah.
doesn't care about anyone else.
Well, when you're at the top of your game, everybody's gonna try and bring you down
Yeah.
and pick you, and
Yeah.
that's where he's at right now. And I love Giannis, and I don't want to fall into that trap that everybody else is kind of falling into. But
Because here's the thing, Giannis needs to get better. Giannis is not he's not a championship player yet. He's not. But at the
Yeah,
same
I agree
like
too.
he's not a championship player and he's not going to be able to win by himself. Braun couldn't win by himself, for God's sake.
Yeah. No,
That's
who
true.
reminds me a lot of too?
Who?
Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
He's a really good player that's not a carry your team by himself player, which they showed in the
Yeah.
series against, you know.
Not yet. Like
I think he has it
can.
in him.
I think
where I don't think
Yeah.
Embiid has that in him, but I do think Giannis does. He just needs to reach.
once Giannis, 5 years from down the road is going to be a carry the team by yourself.
Five
guy.
years.
He'll
How
only
old
be
is he?
30. He'll only be 30.
He's
in 5 years.
25
He's
right now.
25.
I think after I say give it a couple years and he'll be there. I don't think 5. I think less than 5.
I mean, it's
I
just,
agree. I think
it's
it'll
just-
be quicker.
It's going to come down to the fact of can he shoot the basket? If he can shoot the basketball, you can't build that. Like you can't sit back on him and wait to build that
Yeah.
zone because then he just catches and pulls.
We've
That's it.
been likening it to LeBron a lot, but I think that's because, he's been the most LeBron-like player since LeBron.
Because LeBron went into the league and dominated everybody. That's what Giannis is. Giannis didn't come into the league and dominate. He worked to that point.
Yeah,
But
true.
LeBron couldn't shoot either. And then he went
Exactly.
to Miami, and then he was like, wait, maybe if I learn how to shoot a three-pointer, I'll be a better player.
So the question is then, if the Bucks, this is the question on everyone's mind, if the Bucks don't win this year, Is Giannis gone after next year, regardless of what they do, south of winning a championship?
No, because that's one of the things I want to add. It's just how weird this year's been. I mean, they played the majority of their games, and then obviously coronavirus hit, and they had to stop playing their games and then resume play. And I also think I don't want to touch on this too much, but not having the fans in the stands is definitely a huge miss.
Because I think you've hit a point right now. The Bucks have the second best home record in the league, short of the Sixers. Sixers got swept.
Yeah, and instead of going
I thought
home,
the Heat had a really good one too. Were they third?
Well, the thing is, the Heat had like a good one, but they also just didn't care what stadium they were in, and they would just win anyways. Was their thing.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
No, you're good. I just wanted to, add that how weird this year's been, and I'm sure these guys are motivated, but at the same time, not having your fans to back you up and having that momentum definitely hurts if you look at it, big picture. Moving on from basketball.
There's
I would
a
like to
couple
talk
points
about.
that we still should.
I think there's one last
harp
thing
on.
we should at least talk about in basketball. The Brooklyn Nets hired Steve Nash as their head coach.
Yeah,
that's
a pretty big thing.
Huge. That is huge news.
He's a rookie coach, right?
Yes,
he's
never coached any
I think
before.
he was. I don't even know if he's been an assistant coach. I know he was
hasn't.
doing front office work with the Warriors last I
Yes,
heard
he
about
was,
him.
which is a point that I want to make later.
Okay, but fine? I guess if you have to make that point later, you can.
Yes,
But do you guys think it's a good signing? And how do you feel about Jacques Vaughn being moved back to assistant coach?
here's the deal. I don't know anything about Jacques Vaughn. I think the firing of Kenny Atkinson was a horrible move. I don't like that move. Kenny Atkinson's a great coach. I think that I don't know anything about Jacques Vaughn. I don't know if he's good or not. All I know is that he was given the scraps of a good team and said, make something with this. Here's Jamal Crawford.
Yeah, make something out
And
of
they weren't even
nothing.
the 8th seed. They were the 7th
Exactly.
seed.
They were they were pretty good, but they needed a head coach. Kevin Durant picked this head coach
And,
because what's up?
I was just going to say, because they knew each other back from their.
Steve Nash was a major reason Kevin Durant went to the Warriors.
Yep.
That was a big thing back then, was like Steve Nash helped bring Kevin Durant from his home in OKC away from Boston to the Warriors. So now Kevin Durant's like, hey, I know this guy. If Kevin Durant trusts the guy, that's out of this world, because Kevin Durant doesn't trust a lot of people.
Yeah.
If he trusts Steve Nash as his head coach,
And honestly, it's giving me serious Steve Kerr vibes to bring it back to the Warriors.
exactly.
He is walking into maybe the best possible situation for a rookie head coach to walk into possible. Like, they have Kevin Durant, they have Kyrie Irving, they have DeAndre Jordan, who's not even their best center. Jarrett Allen might be better.
Yeah.
They have
Karis
Spencer
LeVert,
Dinwiddie.
Spencer Dinwiddie.
Then the list goes on and
just
on and
keeps
on.
going.
These
Dante
good
Hall.
players. Dante Hall.
They- yeah.
Who's I mean, obviously got a lot of minutes this year, maybe too many minutes,
I think he
but
makes
he's good depth.
a roster.
Yeah.
I think
for
like
sure.
he's a roster guy. He's your third string guy because he is
He's pretty good for a third
he's
string.
literally the same player as Jarrett Allen and DeAndre Jordan.
So I
And,
think that
yeah, you've got good vets, you've got good
Yeah.
young guys, you've got stars. You have two great stars. It's like you said, it's a Steve Kerr situation.
if Nash doesn't do well this year, or I guess I'd give it one more year. If he doesn't do well in his first 2 years, then he's not going to be a good head coach.
Yeah,
because
that's it.
you can
It's all
well-
that. It's right there
Well,
for him.
that is true, but also let's not forget Kyrie Irving loves to ruin teams because he wants to be the guy and he wants to be weird and he wants to always be in the news.
Yeah,
Because he did that with LeBron. He did that with Boston. He was supposed to. Kemba Walker is far better for Boston than Kyrie Irving ever
Oh,
was.
I agree.
I think that Kemba Walker's legacy in Boston is beautiful. Kyrie Irving's a dumpster fire. Boston hates
I
Kyrie.
really hope that Kyrie Irving can put that aside and
So
get
do
over
I.
that
Well-
and just play basketball.
correct
I
me if
mean,
I'm wrong, but
what's up?
this is the first time in his career that he's actually chose the team that he wanted to go to, right? Because
I
he was
believe
traded
so.
to
Yeah,
the Celtics.
that's
He was
true.
drafted by the Cavs.
Yeah.
So if there's any situation he's going to be happy in, it should be this one.
Yeah, and if he's not happy, then I'm out on Kyrie. If Kyrie,
I'm already out on Kyrie. I need Kyrie to show me something. He's like we talked about. He's bounced around, underperformed. I thought
Yeah.
he was going to be really great on the Celtics. He
I
just
think-
didn't really get to the level that I thought.
his thing with the Celtics was he went there thinking he was going to be the guy, and Jason Tatum is starting to look like the second coming of Kobe Bryant. So like he wasn't the guy, and he's like, I'm upset. But now he has willingly chosen to go to a team where he can coexist with another guy as
Yeah.
the guy.
So I think you had something non-basketball related, and we can close
Yeah,
out with
yes,
that
yes,
because
yes.
we're
Just
running low
close
on time.
out on that.
Close out with some
One more thing,
Alabama football.
Lou Dort is not good at basketball. Sorry, Alabama football. You were saying
Alabama football. So I have a question. What position for Alabama football keeps you guys up at night? We're, I think, 23 days away from the kickoff against Missouri.
Keeps us up at night. I think linebacker until proven otherwise. I know we have Dylan Moses, but outside of that, it's a question mark. And so I think that, him coming back will help, and it'll probably be nothing. But after seeing last year's linebacker play, I just can't buy into it until I see a good linebacking core from Alabama, because we haven't had like an elite linebacking core in a while. So I think that's my big one.
The position that keeps me up at night, who's our third receiver? Because I love Jalen Waddle. I love Devontae Smith. Who's the next guy?
Yeah, we have
Bolden.
God, no. We have all these talented freshmen. We still got John
Yeah.
Mechie. But who's going to step up
Who's
and take hold
gonna
of
be
that,
that next
take
guy?
reins of that?
Yeah, exactly. Like, who's going to be that guy?
Well, I heard some reports that a lot of the freshmen
Javon
were looking
Baker.
really good.
Yep.
So what about you?
That's good.
What's the
What's the
your big
position that
question
keeps
mark?
you up at night?
When you're lying in bed?
Quarterback.
That's
Really?
fair.
Because I'm a believer in Mac Jones. I drink the Mac Jones Kool-Aid. I talk about him all the
eats
time.
the mac and cheese.
Yeah. I love Mac Jones to death, but part of me is worried that, he comes out there and struggles the first couple of games, and then people will be like, oh, it's all good. We still got Bryce Young, but then you're putting all this pressure on Bryce Young.
True freshman.
And then if neither one of them performs, what do you have left?
Yeah.
I love Bryce Young, and I think he's going to be a better quarterback than Mac Jones. Nothing against Mac Jones.
No, yeah.
I'm saying that he's going good from good to great. But I think
It's like the difference between Greg McElroy, AJ McCarron.
shoot, it's
And
Jalen
then-
to Tua. Maybe
yeah.
not that good, but I'm just saying.
I think
potentially.
it's Mac Jones
Hopefully.
is similar to AJ McCarron, Greg McElroy,
Yeah.
and then this guy is similar to Tua, where
But
it's like
it's-
just transcendental talent.
especially with a truncated short off season.
Yeah,
That's so much pressure to put on a man.
huge.
But
Do you think Mac Jones can turn into this year's version of Joe Burrow potentially?
no,
I think
He's got more of
the
a
fact that Joe Burrow of all people did it, which is nothing against Joe Burrow. He's a great quarterback now, but coming into last year, if you said would Joe Burrow be this year's version
I
of
would've
Joe
laughed
I
Burrow?
wish
at
they
you.
could time travel and,
I would have
and make a
laughed
bet
at you.
on LSU.
So literally at this
table.
point, it could be anyone as long as the scheme's right. I think unfortunately we're gonna run more this year.
we're gonna
so he's not
run the
gonna
ball
have-
more, and Steve Sarkisian loves his RPOs.
we have an embarrassment of riches.
Yeah.
An absolute
Yeah.
embarrassment. We have Najee Harris. You talked about it earlier, Devontae Smith,
Yeah,
Jalen Waddle, all those talented freshman guys. We'll probably have one of the best offensive lines in the country. Just aside from Najee Harris, we got Trey Sanders. So
Yep. Who
this-
promised
it's
me a
it's gotta pick-
Heisman?
It's pick
He
your
did promise
poison,
that.
really.
Yeah,
If teams want to load the box to stop Najee, then okay, we'll throw the ball. We got
five
good
steps drop,
receivers.
just heave it over the top. Waddle will go run under it, or
Just
you
think,
know,
think
Smith will
about how
catch it or
big
something.
it
I don't know.
was for Devontae Smith to come back this year.
Oh,
We
it's
were-
huge.
Yeah, actually, I was talking about this today with some people for a class of all things. And to me,
School? What?
gross.
How
I
dare
know,
you.
I actually have to go to school sometimes.
You-
But
You.
Devontae Smith coming back was such a shock for me because to me, he was already a top receiver in the draft. He was a first round guy in my
well, he
mind.
had better numbers than Ruggs and Judy last
Yeah.
year. So I don't think
to be fair though, that's because everyone was guarding Ruggs and Judy.
That's fair.
They put their best
maybe
guy on
he,
Judy.
Maybe he came back to show that he can be that alpha,
number
that
one guy.
Yeah,
number one
I-
receiver.
that-
And I
that's
think he
it.
can,
yeah.
He could.
but I don't know how much that affects his draft stock
yeah,
because
it's huge for
I
the
still don't
team.
think he's going to be a top 10 receiver. I mean, he could be.
a
depends
top
on how
10
you-
receiver,
if
like a
he,
top 10 in the
like-
draft.
Oh.
Like top 10 pick.
He's definitely
a
top 10.
Yeah, he's
That's what I was going to say.
receiver,
I was
but
like,
top,
what?
top
Top
10
10,
pick in the draft.
yeah.
I still see him going, somewhere in that 15 to 25 range.
Yeah, but the first receiver this year is picked 11. So
That's true.
Yeah. And wasn't it?
it was
It was Ruggs. Yeah.
And CeeDee
Which
Lamb was
nobody thought. Everybody thought Judy
Yeah.
and Lamb were going to go before.
Judy
Ruggs.
was what, 14 or 15 you guys were?
I think so. Yeah. I think
But
that's
granted,
about where it was.
I mean, the Raiders took Ruggs and over
Yeah,
both those
that
guys,
was
and
kind
the
of a wild
Raiders,
card.
it was a very
John
It
Gruden
was-
and Mike
He's
Mayock.
playing
Does
Gruden
that
ball.
surprise you?
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair though, it could be like the most harebrained trick, and it might work just because of the fact that
Speed kills, man.
go deep. It's the Madden principle. Just send the fastest guy you have on a streak, and he'll outrun somebody. I don't know.
We talked about draft stock and we talked about Mac Jones. How do you think this year could affect Mac Jones' draft stock? Do you think he could, because he's a redshirt junior right now, but do you think he can be a one and done type of player?
I think that his
He's
draft
going to
stock
have a
can
really good year to be a one
only
and
go
done.
up, right?
But
'Cause-
hold on, I want to say
Oh,
that
go ahead.
even if he doesn't have a great year, I don't think he's going to stick around because he's got Bryce Young.
Yeah.
If he has like a pedestrian average year, there's no way he starts with Bryce Young next year.
He
Because they want to get
transfers to
Bryce
somewhere
Young on the
else.
field.
They want Bryce Young on the field now.
So
And-
best case scenario, he has a solid year. You know, maybe he goes in the 3rd or 4th round, but still gets drafted, and then
Yeah.
you have Bryce Young come in.
Well, I could definitely see him like pulling a Jalen Hurts as well, transferring to a different school where they'll make your stats look real good, just to
Yeah.
raise your draft stock any little bit that you can.
I think he's a
Exactly,
good
yeah.
quarterback too. It's just
Jalen, or
well,
Mac
yeah,
Jones?
Jalen was
Yeah.
a great quarterback, but I think Mac Jones is a good quarterback. He's got a lot of potential. It just
And you know what my favorite thing about Mac Jones is?
What's that?
Super Savage season.
He looks good in shorts.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
That's
Last
it. It's
thing-
over.
No, the
No.
last thing I want to talk about,
Ah,
but wait, there's more. Is the leadership of Najee Harris.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys saw, he led. Not only did he lead that march that we had
Oh yeah.
on Tuesday, but also, do you think he has potential to be, the guy like as a leader wise in the locker room? I think he's definitely shown the offseason he's working really hard. He's got that, what is it, the campaign, his YouTube series.
Oh, for the Heisman.
Not when they have days off for practicing. He's on the band field. He's still training with his trainer, and he's working really hard.
Yeah, he absolutely already showed, like I said, like you said with the whole March thing, he absolutely showed that he is a leader
Yeah.
already on and off the field. And so I think this is going to be a great year.
I was really impressed with that, and he was like, did you mention the "we want to play" thing?
I didn't even mention that.
He's huge in that.
He's been very
Yeah.
vocal, and I think he's got the definitely the potential to be a leader. Unfortunately, we are out of time.
Yeah.
We are gonna wrap up this episode. It's episode 3 of the Super Sports Flash podcast. We'll try and have this up on all platforms, including YouTube, maybe by Sunday or Monday for you guys. Thank
Yep.
you for listening.
Yeah, but if you're listening to it, you already know that.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a great
Well,
point.
if you're watching it, you already know that.
This is Joe Will signing off.
Peace. I'm Tyler.
And I'm Matt, because we do our introductions at the end.
Yeah,
All right.
we just threw that whole thing.
I just didn't want them to forget.
All right.
See ya.
We'll see y'all
Thanks for watching.
later.